So you should be able to see today's agenda on the screen, which is quite a simple agenda. We're going to initially start with a presentation about the Hikvision Technology Partner Program, which should last around about 15 minutes or so. And then we're going to introduce Roman Gaufman, who's the CEO of Tether, a very interesting integrated security platform. And Roman's going to present some slides to us, and then we're going to switch over to a live demo. And at the end, we do have a question and answer session. And I would encourage you to stick around, because we also have 3 goodie bags to give out, and these will be drawn based on the people that are still with us at the end of the show. So please stick around. So first of all, a little bit of information about Hikvision, because I think everybody in the security industry, the video industry, will kind of know Hikvision. We are the market leaders globally. And as a market leader, that comes with a lot of expectations and some responsibility as well from our perspective. So, a little bit about the company. The turnover for Hikvision, first of all, is over $9 billion in 2020. So it has gone up substantially since then. That's over a 10-year period between 2010 and 2020. That's 33% compound growth on an annual basis. So that's very, very significant for any company. Hikvision is a global company. We've got 66 offices around the world, but we also, from some of those offices, we work for several countries. So there's 150 plus countries that are covered with those 66 offices. The number here with 100,000 partners. In fact, the reality is we've got well over 100,000 partners. And when we talk about partners, we're talking about distribution partners, installation partners, integrator partners, not necessarily particularly the technology partners, which we will see a different number for later in the slide. So how do we work? How do we engage with the technology partners? Because obviously, as a leading technology manufacturer, we're very, very dominant in many of the market verticals, many market sectors where video is a predominant technology. And of course, we need to be compatible with the technologies that are also in the industry with us. There are some that you will immediately identify with, and some that are not necessarily quite so obvious. One of the key growth areas in video is video analytics or computer vision, or there are different terms for this depending on the application. So how do we go about Hikvision engaging with the technology partners? So we set up a technology partner program several years ago, which has been a fantastic success for us and also the people that have joined us. The partner program aims to make it as simple as possibly can be for technology partners to obtain our protocols, integrate with us on a technical basis, so that they obtain video streams, they obtain metadata, they obtain the commands that are required to send and also receive back from our hardware devices. So I mean, the whole goal obviously starts with compatibility, but then in some cases we need to go further with those technology partners, and also the technology partners, they gain very significant benefits from working with us. So where we can identify some differentiation or some key USPs from working with technology partners, then the relationship can go much further than just a simple integration level partnership. I'm going to go into that into a little bit more detail later on in the slides. But basically, the goal for us is to make it as easy for technology partners to work with us, but also for us as a business to obtain some kind of differentiation and maybe market leadership in the market through our technology partner program. So when everything starts with our portal in the technology partner program. So you can have a look at this yourself. You can go to tpp.hikvision.com and you'll see the technology partner pages, because there are several. But once a partner joins the program, then they get access to specific information that you won't see if you're the other side of the password. So this is just a little glimpse of if just in case any of you out there are looking to become technology partners. But this is just a little glimpse of the first page that you get into when you become a technology partner. And of course, it starts with integration. It starts with providing protocols. It starts with giving you technical support and information on how to integrate with our different technologies. And there are different ways of integrating with us. And again, we'll touch upon that in a slide or two later. But not only do we provide technical benefits for working with us, but we also provide significant marketing benefits. And you're going to see some of those here. So I touched upon the protocols that we've got. There are 4 main ways of integrating with Hikvision. There are additional methods as well, but these are the 4 main areas that we've got. So the Isapi Protocol, which is our API, is typically used by partners who have a server-based application themselves. And this would give them access to all the commands that they need to receive metadata or send commands to from our hardware devices. Moving down, the HIOP protocol is a very special protocol for cameras that we have that provides some memory and embedded space for technology partners to install their applications directly on the camera. So this basically puts their application at the edge of any project. And then top right, we've got something called Hic Pro Connect Open API, and this typically would be for integration between a cloud-based partner, so somebody using the cloud, and also our devices that can also communicate via the cloud, or some that don't natively communicate via the cloud, but the partner wants to take them into their own private cloud. And then the last one at the bottom right hand corner is our VMS product, which is called Hic Central, which has its own open API. And what's interesting with this product is that it's not just about being a VMS. This integration also provides integration to all of the Hikvision products that are available in the market. So you can use Hic Central Open API as a gateway application to integrate with all of our products as well. And incidentally, this would also integrate with our VMS product. So all of these protocols are available for technology partners once they've registered, free of charge. And all of our support is free of charge as well. And we can also make it easy for you to obtain equipment systems for testing where necessary. So I also mentioned some marketing benefits. So today's webinar is about the relationship that we've got with Tether, which you'll see a little bit more about later. But this is just one of the marketing benefits that we've got, and we can see an example here of, on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see a solution page which is published on our webpage. So if you go to tpp.hikvision.com and then click on solution, or you can type /solution, and then, for example, you can do a search for cloud-based solutions, or you can just type in Tether to be quicker. You will see a complete page of information and graphics about the Tether solution and the relationship that we have with them for Hikvision. On the right-hand side is just a little glimpse of the menu, just the top half of the menu for our solution pages, where you can just type in, for example, Tether, but there are other options in there as well that allow you to filter the application by type, market, protocol, etc., etc. So there are some very good filters in there that help you identify a product. So, for example, if you're looking for a VMS product, in, I don't know, Middle East, you could be able to, you could filter those search criteria, and you would get a list of the technology partners that we have solution pages online for on your screen. Another marketing benefit that we do with technology partners, and this is another one this is an AI solution from a partner in Italy. We produce joint value brochures, which are very useful for our sales partners, our sales channels, including our salespeople, who, when they're looking for solutions with our own technologies, this provides them with something that they can hand out or send via email to projects, either end customers or to integrators. Next one. So this is a trade show. This is the Expo Protection show in Paris of last year. This is just one example. So all of the Hikvision business units are doing something similar. On this particular stand, where I happen to have some good photos of, we have 10 technology partners on the stand. A variety of partners. I mean, you can see on the left photo, you can see a PSIM partner called Azursoft. You can see Paxton Access Control. You can also see Sensivic, which is an audio alarms partner. And then on the graphic on the right hand side, you can see some more AI-based technology partners on the Hikvision stand. So I'm going to play a little video. This is another type of marketing that we do with our technology partners. Hopefully the sound will work for you.
Good morning, everyone.
So that event took place in Hikvision European headquarters last week, and they called it the Hikvision Innovation Summit, and it brought together, I think, 26 technology partners from around Europe in a single event, and we invited system integrators from different countries over a 4-day period, and we put them face to face with the technology partners that were at the event. So it was a very successful coming together of our technology partners. So another aspect that that's very, very important and growing in the video industry is computer vision, or AI, and some of the numbers that we're seeing that come out of market estimates for the growth of AI are huge, but actually we do see them in reality. For example, in retail, where you've already got automated checkouts with which use significant amounts of AI. I mean, this is one partner, for example, that I know of called Bilive. They use AI in retail stores, for example, for stock management. As somebody who started out at school working in Tesco's many years ago, as a student, everything was done manually. You had to walk up and down aisles and write down your stock requirements and then go and get them in the warehouse. Whereas these systems, they use camera technologies with AI to identify where there's needs for stock to be brought out from the warehouse. It sends the system sends an order directly to the warehouse for stock replenishment. And these are just one example of huge change that we've got in society over the very short term. I mean, these things are happening right now as we speak, some quicker than others. And of course, Hikvision wants to be a part of that, using the best of brains and the best of innovation that are out there we know that we don't have a monopoly of good ideas, and that we need to partner with the right people to be part of this new economy that's coming. So yeah, I mean, basically, we know that we need the technology partners, and we know that technology partners need us, and of course this hopefully brings together some kind of tangible action that means that we provide some tools and support, commercial support, with our very strong position in the marketplace. So we want to push the technology partners into the market via our distributors, our system integrators, installers, resellers, end customers, even not on the list. But so we are able to provide access to technology partners where they're strategic to the market, and we can provide them with a very, very quick way to get to the end customer and help their growth. Take a significant step forward in much quicker time than if they were kind of left to do it with their own means. And we do this free of charge. So I'm reaching the end of my presentation here, but I just want to end with the note that Hikvision is a global business. As you saw in the first slide, we have offices worldwide. We're in pretty much every country or every major economy in the world. So wherever you are, whatever your activity, if you need video, you're looking for a technology partner, we've probably got the technology partner in our portfolio that you could look for. If you yourself are a technology company wanting to integrate, needing to have some kind of integration with video solutions or sensors that we have in the company, then please take a look at joining the technology partner program. It's free. It's very easy. There's no obligation to buy anything from us. But if you have any questions or so, you can drop us an email to tpp@hikvision.com, as well as go via our website. So I'm now going to hand over to Roman, who's going to present to us the Tether solution and how it integrates with Hikvision. Roman, would you like to take over the screen, please?
Thank you very much for the warm introduction. I just wanted to say it's been an absolute pleasure working with Hikvision, the technical teams of Hikvision. The API is very well documented. It's quite a pleasant departure from some of the older SDKs that we have to use sometimes. So jumping straight in, I'm going to cover sort of just briefly what we do, why we do it, how to get started with Tether, and hopefully you'll find this useful. So Tether has been around for about 10 years with the ambition of bridging the IT and physical security space together. So in the IT space, we have products like YouTube, like Facebook. They're very simple, they're very visual. Even products like Ring, which are kind of on the border between IT and security. But we haven't really seen anything that brings that level of experience to the end user. So it's to have that simple app like you have with Ring, but for more the enterprise level customer, where you might have multiple sites, you might have different vendors, different systems, but you still want to have one single app instead of having multiple apps for different versions, generations, vendors of video surveillance, alarm panels, access control, or whatever else that you might be doing. So Tether is something like the missing CRM for the security industry. While it's very visual, very simple for the end user, it provides very powerful tools for us, for the engineers, for the installers, for the industry. So we've been around for a while, and our background used to actually be integrators ourselves. So going back about 10 years, we used to do installations. We no longer do that, but we really understand the challenges and the pain points that engineers face, and that's what gave birth to Tether. So in terms of why you would want to use it, we built it first of all for ourselves to make our lives much easier. So it's less visits to sites, it's less phone calls from the customer saying, I know we've gone through training, but I've forgotten everything. Can we do training again? It's adding additional services and additional functionality without always having to go back to site, without having to redesign the entire installation. So we built something that allows you to log in, manage everybody's accounts, manage your business in effect. So you have almost like a health check of how well you're doing. So you can see how many cameras were installed last month, how many new sites went live, which engineers are responsible for most of those sites. And one of the key important ones from here, so from the monitor, manage, maintain is the most interesting for engineers, for integrators from our conversations, because it allows you to go into any site and add additional services. If you want to have cloud backup, you can enable it on any Tether site. Cloud analytics, health monitoring. So it really turns that maintenance contract into a turnkey solution. So instead of installing some cameras, maybe getting 1 year's maintenance service, walking away, it's giving them something that creates day-to-day value that they're happy to pay for, they're happy to renew, and it's building that many years long relationship with the customer, hopefully for lifetime. For the end users, likewise, it is having that one central place that you can log in, see all of my cameras, all of my alarm panels, access control systems. Is everything working? We can even monitor network devices. If somebody unplugs a wireless access point, that can send through a push alert, that can send through a message to an alarm receiving center, and I'll cover how that works. So it's by solid, we don't just mean the reliability of Tether itself, but also knowing that every single security component out there is functioning as it should. Security is also paramount. I'll cover security in a little while, but we do have a penetration tester that we frequently use to make sure that we are ahead of any security vulnerabilities. We have a security white paper. We deal with the likes of American Express, for instance, who've sent us a 100-page questionnaire to do with IT security, so we're quite familiar with that space. If you ever have a customer that asks about security, do let us know. We have quite a lot of documentation. And straightforward is, we feel like a lot of the software out there is quite complex. It's designed for a trained operator, whereas we provide something that you can send a welcome email to any customer and they can get immediate value when they log in. So in terms of the system architecture, what Tether does, what it connects to, you put a Tether box on site. We also have a software-only version if you want to run it on some existing hardware. Once that Tether box, either hardware or software, is on site, it can connect to all of these different devices here at the bottom. And the reason why we have this sort of unsecure logo is it may be secure, it may be an older firmware, it may be a device that hasn't received any firmware updates for a while, it may be a device that is connecting over serial. It's very difficult to know and to guarantee that all of those devices are going to be safe to just have direct access to the internet. So what we do is we set them up to always access through the Tether box, so that all communication is encrypted both in transit and at rest. So once the Tether software or Tether box is on site, you can then consume that information either by sending direct API requests to the box itself. We have local streaming, so if you do open the app, it would automatically switch and stream the data without going over internet, which is very useful in low bandwidth environments. You can use our native API, our native applications, so mobile phone, iPad, iOS, Android. Or you can receive that information to an existing control room. So you might already have police response set up and you just want to add a site. We'll make that very easy. Or indeed, if you have any custom application or you're trying to build any sort of solution, you can use Tether to achieve that, and I'll show that in a live demo. So it is very much once you've connected a device into Tether, you have virtual access to it through the cloud, and you have just one single app for all of those different product categories. So the key components of Tether are these four, and they're quite distinct and different use cases demand either a combination of those, all of them, or could just be one of the components. So the connect piece allows you to very easily go into a legacy site, for example, put a tether box in, and all of a sudden that legacy site will have cloud analytics and police response. So you can effectively upgrade all of those legacy cameras that they might be from 10 years ago to be cloud enabled, modern, with cloud backup, with whatever functionality you want to add, health monitoring. So that makes it very easy. It also allows you to create custom applications. So you integrate with Tether, and by using one single API, you can speak to something like 15,000 different devices in the security industry. So I'll give you an example specifically with Hikvision. So Hikvision have fantastic ANPR cameras, but if you use the TCM 403, the integration is different than if you use the other ANPR cameras in the product range. So then you have to create a server that can receive messages from that camera. It could be quite complicated. Whereas with Tether, you put a Tether box in and it's one single API. And that can also connect to the legacy cameras if the customer's not quite ready to upgrade to the newer ones from Hic, for instance. Then the second piece is having that full audit log, so you can see a list of all of the devices out there, what's working, what's not. If you decide you need to change 10,000 devices from 20 FPS to 25 FPS, you can do that. You can tunnel through to any IP or serial device. So that's as if you're standing next to it with a laptop plugged into the network. We also call it virtual port forwarding. So without actually having to do port forwarding, you can achieve the same type of result. You can see if anything changed, if anything was unplugged. It just really gives you that one central place to manage all sites, all devices, etc. The access piece is that beautiful visual app that anybody can use to log in. So that would be typically an end user. It could be a decision maker that receives a welcome email. There's a short onboarding process, and they're straight in and they can get value from their system instead of relying on having to call an ARC or having to have a trained operator or a dedicated control room. And in situations where you do have a control room, just having that flexibility of remote workers dialing in securely with two-factor authentication is also quite useful. And then finally, the services is by putting a tether box on site, all of a sudden you can add really advanced cloud-based analytics or recording to the cloud or health monitoring, or we're constantly adding extra services to it. A recent one that we've added is Deep Alert. That can do things like detect if someone's not wearing a hard hat or a high vis, and it can even detect things like if somebody's climbing a ladder and no one's supporting the ladder. So it really takes health and safety to a new level, and that can be deployed on any camera on site. So if you have your Hikvision camera that's pointing at the construction site, you tick a box in Tether, and all of a sudden it will have that advanced machine learning. So I'm going to jump into the demo, just being mindful of time. I think I've got 25 minutes. Thank you, Liam. So very quickly, the installation process is either scanning a QR code on the unit itself, or you can press activate your tether box from our website. So once you've pressed that button, you fill in the serial number. I'm not going to go through the process in the interest of time, but it's very straightforward. If you are already signed up on Tether, then it's literally just selecting, is this an existing customer or is this a new customer? And then it will ask you, where is the box going, just so we can show it in the correct place on the map. Most of the fields are optional. It's really quick. If you are not signed in, it will ask for a few more details about who you are as the integrator, but that's also quite a straightforward process. So once you've signed in, assuming that you've been using Tether for a while, you can see all of your sites on the map. You can start zooming in and out, so you can press on these bubbles to expand them. And it's color coded, so it shows you where everything's working exactly as it should, where you have units that might be offline, where you have situations where maybe a camera dropped out for a period of time. So you can see here about a month ago, this camera started saying bad auth. So that could be a situation where you can tunnel straight through to that camera and hopefully fix it without going to site. I'll show you what that looks like a little bit later on. You can also peek into the live view to have a look at what exactly is happening on that site. As I mentioned, if there were any problems, overheating, things going down, anything not working as it should, it will give you a quick little heads up directly from the map. But you can also jump straight into the site, open in a new tab, and it will show you age of hard drives, latencies, temperatures, the connection speed on site, how the network is set up. If you have a NAS or any additional hard drives on any device, it will give you a list of all of them, how old they are, if they're operating correctly, when drives are unplugged, when new ones are plugged in. It will show you when the site is connecting and disconnecting from the internet and how much internet traffic it's using. It will show you a history of firmware updates when the unit loses power. So really a lot of context as to what's happening on that site. And most of the time you don't really need to look at that context, because it will send you an integrator report saying, these are all of your sites, that's what's working, that's what's not, and hopefully gives you an idea of what you need to bring so that you're not going back and forth on site. And all of this information is available offline as well. So even if the unit is offline, we have, say, a unit here in Devon that's offline, we can still have the exact same information presented so that you are given that context, so you know exactly what went wrong and what you need to bring to site. So just to back up a little bit, sort of to get to this point, the setup process is really straightforward. So under admin, you have all of your different product categories. So you have your cameras, your network devices, your alarms. So I'll cover quickly how each of those is set up, or what we think is an ideal site. So assuming you've activated your unit, your next step is usually to set up your cameras. So you can click on cameras, and any cameras that were unboxed and plugged in. So for instance, Hikvision have a fantastic API for activating a new camera. So those types of cameras will be activated by Tether automatically. So we will give them a secure password. We will put them on a separate network, on a static IP. All of that happens automatically. We also support cameras being on a dynamic IP, where we'll detect if the IP changes. So it's designed to really be, it tries to protect you from making a mistake. It's very difficult to make a mistake with Tether. If we can't activate the camera, or if it already has a password set up, it will give you a little label to say enter password, and that's usually the only other step you need in order to get to a functional system that I'm going to show kind of how a user would use day to day. But you can start customizing it. So if we go into a camera, we can add cloud backup, for instance. So if we want to record this to the cloud, we can go into here. There's little sliders here that allow you to customize exactly how you would like the cloud backup. So it might be a customer that wants to record everything to the cloud. It might be a customer that wants to record everything locally, but just have a couple of days worth of backup. It's very flexible. You don't have to enable cloud backup at all. So you can have everything recorded locally. So it's a bit of a hybrid situation. Or you might have situations where it's a construction site and they don't really need to record video, but they just need to record time lapse. So you can still get to a very attractive price point, something that works for the customer, works for their budget, works for the connection speed on site. So we have a little calculator here that shows exactly how much data is going to be used and what average upload speed they'll need. So it's a tool that you can actually sit down with the customer and show them. You can also customize the type of markup that you as the business wants to make on these services, so that when you're sitting down with the customer, it kind of shows the price that you would invoice them. So as you would set up a camera, other than the subscriptions, you can customize various things like masking, schedules. You can customize which types of analytics we're going to be pushing through for alarm response. I'll explain how that works in a second as well. But this is where you would customize which specific analytics would be sent through. So for instance, we have here people wearing hard hats. If you don't want to send that alert through, you only want to send people not wearing hard hats, then you can customize it here. In order to add a site to an ARC, you'll do this from the admin section as well. So if you press on admin, you press on my locations, which is the term that we use for sites. And then for any site that you want to add police response, for instance, you can click on the imix/sentinel integration, fill in the details that were provided by your alarm receiving center, and then all of a sudden that alarm receiving center will receive analytics from cameras, it will receive device being unplugged events, it will receive events from your access control system, alarm panels. I'll cover those two categories next. So for alarm panels, we have a site here that integrates all the different product categories. So this is an example of a Texacom alarm panel. So with Texacom, we have full virtual keypad. We also have an integration with the Hikvision AX Pro alarm panels. With them, it's much easier. You don't necessarily need a virtual keypad. It's we can do everything using the API. But the virtual keypad allows you to change more complex settings on the Texacom. But we do also have helpful little buttons here. You can trigger outputs. You can bypass the zones. This is where you also assign each zone to the nearest camera. This is how we get the visual verification done. And the setup process is you are guided through step by step. If you press alarms and then press add new alarm, and then it lets you select from the compatible alarms and tells you what to fill in and how to get started. If you ever get stuck with anything, you can press the button on the bottom right that jumps you straight into live chat. And we're very keen to help. So the next product category is access control. So with access control, we are presently only integrated with Paxton Net 2, but because of our close collaboration with Hikvision, we are adding the Hikvision face stations and Hikvision access control next. And that will allow you to have a fully cloud-based access control system with Tether plus Hikvision. In this example, we're using Paxton Net 2, so this does require you to have a Net 2 server on site, but we are backing up the entire database to the cloud so that you have all of your users, all of your access control units, the mapping to what's the nearest camera. You can specify if you want Tether to ignore touch out events. If you have an exit button that you just don't care to log those events, you can do it here. And you can also remotely open closed doors. So if somebody needs access, you can just open your app, press a button, all of a sudden the door is unlocked. You can also add and remove users directly from Tether. So instead of having to team viewer into one Paxton instance, then team viewer into the next one, if you have multiple sites, you have one single place where you enter the details, press save, and that gets pushed through to the relevant Net2 instances. So this lets you fully manage your Paxton system in the cloud. And if somebody steals the Paxton server, you can push the users out to a brand new server, so you're back up and running in sort of hours instead of days or potentially weeks. So that's how we set up the access control system. So we've covered setting up cameras, setting up alarms, access control, adding subscriptions, adding police response. Once the system is commissioned, you would then create a user. So if you press on settings users, you create a user which allows you to customize which sites they can see. Can they see access control information? Can they see license plate information? Can they see? Can they issue audio challenges? So all of that can be controlled here. So you can really fine-grained control over permissions for each user. And then the user gets a welcome email with a short onboarding guide that lets them be up and running in a matter of minutes. So once this is done, the end user will be given an option to turn off support access, which is, that happens at handover, but that doesn't mean that you as the integrator will lose access. You can still see all the high level information, what's working, what's not. I'll show you what that can look like. But you do have quite a lot of information that you can still access. And if the end user turns on support access, you get a push notification that they've turned on access, and then you'll be able to see the cameras, make changes, but you can still see how the cameras are set up. Are they working? You just won't be able to see the recordings and change. So this is an example of a integrated dashboard. So just by scrolling through, it tells you how much that customer. So this is some sample data, but it gives you an idea of what to expect. So it shows how much the customer is being invoiced for additional services, who's logging in, how they're using the platform, how many cameras are being added month to month, how many units are being added month to month. It will show a breakdown by engineer to show which engineer is installing how many systems. So it gives you a bit of a health check for the business. So you can log in and see, this is what we've sold this month, this is what we sold last month, this is what we sold last year in comparison, how we're making progress, how we're doing as a business. One sort of final thing in terms of setup is this is something we've added very recently. You can literally select any network device. So for instance, say you have a Dell laptop that is not supposed to be taken off site. You can go into here, flick that monitor to on, and all of a sudden, if anybody touches that laptop, there will be a push alert sent through, and potentially even to a control room. You can also specify the nearest camera to that device, and if you do that, then not only will you get a push alert, you will also get visual verification showing the person unplugging the laptop, so you know exactly who did it. So we have a school recently that's using this to monitor wireless access points, so we can also pick up health information from SNMP, so we know if signals drop, we know if something's not working as it should, as well as if somebody physically unplugs the unit, and in all of those cases we send through an alert to the relevant person. So this is all great for the integrator, but in terms of kind of day-to-day use for the end user, I'll give you an example of something that is quite difficult to achieve with other systems on the market. So for instance, you have multiple sites and you want to see, is anybody going there at a time they're not supposed to? So with a typical system, you'd have to dial in to one site, potentially then select a specific day, a specific time range, then select the previous day. You get the point, then you have to dial into the next site. So that could be hours, days, weeks, depending on the connection speed on site. You might have to go there to extract footage. So with Tether, it's a bit of a party trick. So you can click on, I want to see events, say in the evening. They don't really access at night, so there's no point filtering for that. And then you want to see if somebody actually accessed the building, so with the access control. So just by scrolling through this list, so we've now reviewed 2 days worth of events and 3 days worth of events. So within seconds, we can see a week's worth of events across multiple sites, filtering specifically by, somebody accessed the building when they're not supposed to. And then from here, you can jump straight in, have a look at. So another thing that we can do is we can show you a preview of what's inside of the video. And each of those images are what we call best image technology. So it's not just a frame every 5 seconds, it is a best frame, so that if somebody sprints past the camera, we'll show them front and center with a red box around them. So you can really trust this to review the contents of a video. So just scrolling through, you know who entered, how long they were there, what they were doing. And then if you want to play the full 4K or whatever camera you happen to have there, here they have a Hikvision 4K camera, so you can see the images is very good. So you can see exactly what was going on during that event. And if you wanted to share that event, you can, with a single tap, press share this event, and you can either copy a link. So we have a link here that you can that you can copy paste into WhatsApp or wherever you need to share it, or you can send it by email. So for instance, dear Mr. Policeman, here's the evidence you wanted, and if for any reason you need to stop sharing that event, you can press unshare, and then that link will no longer work. So very similar to Google Drive, Dropbox, we try to bring that level of experience for physical security. When the person logs in, they'll see the recordings, the time lapse, they'll see the access control events, so they'll know which person entered, everything that was going on through the access control system. So that's very useful, and you can add any other attachments, any other background information you want the person to have. So instead of going to site, extracting footage with USB sticks, selecting a from and to time, Tether generates all these events for you, and it's a very straightforward user experience. We also have dark mode, and a lot of people prefer to use that, especially when working in the evenings. It's less jarring. So again, bringing all of the modern comforts to typical kind of day-to-day physical security. We also have detailed audit logs. We have ANPI, as I've mentioned. I won't go into that, but I'll open a couple more tabs. This specific site is quite interesting because what we've done here is we've built an interface for managing storage units, and this is something that was built custom for this company, Storebox. So we're working very, very closely with them. So if you have a specific business requirement, some customization that needs to happen, we can also do that as well. But here they have diagrams of occupancy. They can onboard a customer very easily. So they just select what storage units that customer should have access to, what is their vehicle registration, so we can open the gate. And Tether will automate the interaction between all the different components. So they have a Texacom alarm panel connected to each storage unit. They have Paxton access control to enter the building, and they have Hikvision for all of the video verification. So when they're setting up a storage unit, they can specify size, floors, all of the metadata, but they also specify which access control system it's connected to, and which alarm panel is connected to, and what specific zone we need to bypass. So when a person enters the building, we take a snapshot of them, send that to the owner of the storage unit to say this person is now accessing your storage unit. We disarm the storage unit, we unlock the door for them, and all of that interaction happens automatically, so that the operator just gets a very simple dialogue of, I want to add a new customer, and all of the complexity is just handled by Tether. So you can create these complex interactions between different systems. For access control, you also have other comforts, counting how many people you have. You can filter by specific things. You can search by names, you can search by site, you can search by door. So all of that is available directly from within Tether as well. We automatically add the visual verification, and that's set up the same way as you select a camera for alarm zones. You do the exact same thing for an access control system. Wrong button. So if you go under access control units, you just select the nearest camera to that access control unit, and then we know how to create the visual verification. So very straightforward. There's also a detailed audit log, so you can literally see minute by minute who's doing what they're accessing. So you can see here that actually this was 3 minutes ago, somebody viewed these specific events. So you literally minute by minute who's watching what, how long they're watching live view, which cameras they're watching on live view, and all of this information can also be exported as an Excel. So in case you need to generate an audit report for, we have a customer now, a housing association, they want to get an audit report for the past year of everything that's working, everything that's not, who's accessed, how many times they've accessed, where from. So they can go into here, start exporting this as an Excel and doing whatever it is that they need to do with that information. So everything that I'm showing here can be exported as an Excel. So from the customer's perspective, they can let people in, they can disarm alarms, they can find footage, share footage. It's very simple to use. Everything is audit logged, everything is PCI compliant, GDPR compliant. So that works really well for them. They can also have this in real-time view, so that, or this is more of the operator view. So if they are setting up specific analytics, they can be notified anytime those analytics happen in real time, and they can tick off those events. So that allows them to use this in more of a control room setting. So very modern, very, very simple to use interface. Of course, things like live view, you can issue two-way, so there's two-way audio. You can issue audio challenges to somebody on site. You can see here what that looks like in real time. So we also highlight the object of interest. So everything you would expect, and in a package that's really simple to use. For integrators, we also get additional documentation, so things like accessing pricing, accessing marketing data sheets, everything else is directly from within the platform. And if you ever can't find anything, as I mentioned, there is that live chat in the bottom right. So with that said, I'm going to jump back into the presentation and just cover off a couple more slides. So this is what it looks like in terms of product range. So we have 3 types of units. We have a very small unit that we have customers using on sides of buildings, on solar applications, or in vehicles. Very low power. So I think it's something 2.5 watts of power that it requires. So very nice unit to use in those types of applications. Then we have the probably the most popular units, which allows you to quickly connect and record 10 cameras to the cloud. And with Tether, we do have this concept of monitor and record. So if you are recording cameras with Tether, generating the events, the time lapse, potentially recording to the cloud, then it's limited to 10 cameras. But you can still monitor the health of 100 cameras on site, and you can also see live view of those cameras. So you can add a tether box to site. All of a sudden 10 cameras are recording either locally or to the cloud, and then all the other ones are still visible for live view, and that's an opportunity for the customer to decide if they want to add additional ones in the future. And then we have a rack mount unit, which we have a standard one, and we can also custom build them up to 150 cameras. And as I mentioned, if you do have your own hardware, do check with us. We have minimum specs that you can refer to, and then you don't even necessarily need to buy any hardware from us. You can just download a piece of software. But if you are buying hardware, then Mayflex is presently our distributor in the UK. So do get in touch with them. In terms of what we're doing with Hikvision specifically, so we've integrated with most of Hikvision's product range, including Hic Pro Connect. So all of the devices that you happen to have in Hic Pro Connect, you can actually also see them directly within Tether. So that's quite neat. And Hikvision is by far the most, the single most popular manufacturer that's being used with Tether. So 48% of all devices that are being monitored by Tether are manufactured by Hikvision. So that gives you an idea why we're working quite closely. So you can see here that you're not limited to just cameras. You can use, for instance, the new AX Pro alarm panels from Hic. You can manage them side by side, similarly as how I showed with Texacom, but it's even easier because you can perform all functionality without having to use a keypad. You can use recorders as well. If the recorders support any analytics, we can pull that analytics through and make it searchable and accessible from within Tether. But by putting a Tether box on site, you can then take your existing and legacy sites, whatever that might be. So you might have Texacom panels and the Paxton access control system. You might have some older Pelco devices, whatever it might be. And all of a sudden they will work nicely with Hikvision. You'll have access to them in the cloud. You can add advanced cloud analytics to those devices. So it gives you a lot of flexibility with what you can do. So it can become quite complicated behind the scenes, but the user still gets a very streamlined, very straightforward user experience. And we are compatible with Image Sentinel, Hic Central connected. And as I mentioned, we have an API so that you can feed information into Tether, get information out in a very streamlined way. And we even have little snippets of code that you can copy paste. So if you have your own product that you're building or your website, you can copy paste a bit of code to then add live view of that camera to your website or to your product to add that visual verification. So that's very useful as well. We have a partner program. Do get in touch with us for more details, but depending on various thresholds, partners get quite a significant discount. Mayflex also have all of this information, so either speak to us or speak to Mayflex. And just as a summary, Tether works on anything, Mac, Windows, native apps for various platforms. Really easy to get started with. Installation is really straightforward, but you can also do very complicated things with it. With that said, well, excuse me. With that said, thank you very much for listening to me. These are our contact details if you would like more information, and I'm going to pass it back to Liam.
Great, thank you, Roman. That was very interesting, very informative, and I think every time I see the presentation, I learn something new. some big brands on there as well that I saw. So Galaxy, for example, as an alarm panel, which I know is very popular in Europe and the UK market. So so we're now going to. I'm just going to switch back to the last slide. I mean, it doesn't really have to be there, but basically, it's now a Q&A session. So anybody has any questions, then please, if you could just pop them into the chat. I don't think your microphones are on, but if you could just put something down in the chat and ask some questions, then Roman or I will do our best to answer them. Alternatively, you can also take them offline and send them to Tether directly or to Hikvision. I'm sure you've all got a contact at Hikvision, but if you want to send it to the TPP particularly, then the address would be tpp@hikvision.com. So not seeing any questions so far. Has anybody got one? Can you so this one's come from James. It's disappeared off my screen. So yeah, James Vian, can you let everybody know how to find the useful help guides for connecting new products? So James, I'm assuming that you're talking to Hikvision or to Tether. Which of the companies are you referring to within Tether platform? Okay, Roman, over
in
to
that
you.
case, I will answer that one. So I'll just jump very quickly to the screen share. So we have tried to streamline that process. So instead of you having to necessarily search the knowledge base, you can even jump straight into live chat. And if there is something in the knowledge base that answers your question, it will suggest that as a potential answer while you're waiting for us to respond. But if you can also press search and then type Texacom, for instance, and then it will tell you exactly what you need to do step by step, what cable you need, where it goes, where it connects on the box, where it connects on the panel. So we try to talk you through step by step. We even have a little simplified guide of the key things inside of WinText that you might want to refer to. So that's how we handle that.
Okay, thank you for that, Roman. Does that answer your question, James? Okay, we could assume so for the minute. So Steve W is asked if you're going to be integrating Pyronics.
So we're very keen. We've had several conversations with Pyronics. We haven't quite gotten to a kind of commercial arrangement yet. It's definitely something that we are interested in. If you do kind of poke them and ask them, have you integrated with Tether yet? Maybe that will give them a bit of a nudge.
Yeah, I guess with like with in many cases, if there's a project that comes along, and that often stimulates a little bit more of an activity. So Steve, if you have got a project with Pyronics, maybe you could let the people at Tether and Hikvision know about it, so that we could maybe encourage some further development there. I would also maybe encourage you to also take a look at the Axe Pro alarm panels, which are made by Hikvision as well, which are growing in popularity across in fact internationally. So as an alternative, and that integration is already done. Graham Armstrong, does Tether have a trial facility? Is there some kind of trial period that you can make available?
Yes, absolutely. So we provide a kind of 1 month as standard, but that can be extended up to 3 months if there's a project. And we do have both demo units and ability to just we can send you a link to download it onto existing hardware. Do reach out to us. We're happy to arrange a trial.
Okay, so how would Graham get in touch with you to facilitate this trial?
Sorry, I'll let me jump back. Actually, maybe I'll leave that slide on the screen.
Yeah, go ahead.
1 second. There we go. So we've got some contact information there of various ways you can reach us.
Right, that's great. Moving down, Robert Evans, what's happening with Hic's own cloud storage solution that was withdrawn? Okay, it's a good question, Robert. It's probably not for today's webinar. I'm assuming you're based in the UK, Robert. So if you could contact the local salesperson or the local office, and there'll be a reply for that. So next question, Sean Murphy, ESVIS products. Are you integrated with the ESVIS cloud as well as the Hikvision cloud?
We're not integrated with the EasyViz cloud, but we can connect all of the cameras. So if you do have an EasyViz camera, then as long as you have either the Tether software or a Tether box on site, we can connect all of those cameras and then add them to the platform. You can also enable cloud storage in those cameras from within Tether, or you can keep using the EasyViz one in parallel with Tether. So we're not disruptive to EasyViz, to Hic Connect, to kind of all of those settings.
Okay, brilliant. Next question from Phil Story. Is Tether suitable for mobile projects where you're using 3 or 4G as the communication method?
100%. I would say over a third of all Tether installations are using some form of cellular internet. We have some applications in India, also in even rural areas where there's very limited connectivity. But because you have the best image technology and you have that flexibility of what's recorded locally, what's recorded to the cloud, it still works really well. But very, very popular for integrated to use Tether with 4G. And we will manage the amount of bandwidth that's used. We even have a low bandwidth mode that will pop up an alert if a person's left live view. It will ask, "Are you still there?" And then I have to press that they're still there. That kind of immediately stops live view, and you can control after how long. So we have quite a lot of functionality built in to make it very suitable for low bandwidth, low quota environments.
Okay, and Phil comes back with, as in moving assets, so vehicles. So is there some kind of tracking facility with using 4G devices? Are you able to track them, I guess, on a map?
We had a separate product that interfaces with the Tether platform in order to add the mapping functionality. So it's not something that you'll be able to see exactly where it is on the map right now, but it doesn't map historic information. But with that said, we can feed the historic information into a third-party product if that's something you're trying to achieve.
Okay, right, great. And do we have any more? I think that's it. No more questions. Anybody else that wants to ask a question before we wrap the meeting up? Okay, you're welcome, Phil. Okay, I think we're out of questions. So again, just as a kind of as a wrap up, so anybody that's interested in the technology partner program, please take a look at the website tpp.hikvision.com. If you're a customer or an installer, you can see a list of solution pages that are online. You can filter them by product type, region, protocol, etc. There's a lot of filters out there that will help you identify whether you're looking for a VMS, whether you're looking for a PSIM, an access control partner, video analytics by specific type of usage. And equally, please take a look at the Tether site for more information as well. This video, somebody did ask, this video will be, it has been recorded and will be posted online at some point by the UK office. Okay, somebody's just joining the meeting. I think maybe got the time zone a little bit wrong. But so yeah, that's it. And Roman, did you have anything else you want to add?
Just thank you for organising this. It's been a pleasure working together, and looking forward to our future integrations.
Yeah, thank you for being part of the program. Thank you to the team that's behind setting this up. It's you know, there's two people presenting, but there's a whole lot of people behind it that have organised and helped us out with the marketing, the admin, and especially the technical side. So thank you all for joining, and I hope to see you all in the next one down the road sometime. Bye bye for now.
Yeah.